This is gonna be a whole thing. I already know it.
Get the popcorn.
Nah, it really won't be.
Well, Sean's not here. It would be a whole thing.
Can I go make some popcorn? Is anybody gonna rant here? Can I go make some popcorn real quick?
Sean might break something in his room if he was here.
Who's gonna rant? Is anybody going to rant?
I'm sure somebody's gonna say something about this.
I kind of rant about it.
A minute 42. I'll be right back. No, you guys talk. Go talk.
This is the stupidest non-story hype. Oh my god.
Abandon. This was a whole thing too because people released videos and they ended up actually putting out an update, but it wasn't really an update. Anyway, we had heard that they were going to finally reveal their app, which is a real-time experience application, one where you, I guess, wouldn't watch a trailer through YouTube compression. You would actually have it on your system, and it would render the visuals in real time, I guess, is the idea.
Yeah,
it was going to use haptic feedback, right? The advanced side feedback, use 3D audio, all this stuff. They delayed the patch basically they sent out messages like 3 times saying, hey, we're working on it. It's coming. It's going to happen. We promise. And then finally they deleted all those tweets and then they released an update. And the update, from what I can tell, just uploaded the Twitter video that they had put out the day before into the application. It was like 5 seconds long of a person walking past boards. That does look like Silent Hill. You know, that's the idea that they're playing at, obviously. And that's it.
Why didn't they just say the video we have shared on Twitter is what you are going to see with the application update? Because that probably was not their original plan. That was something that they could throw together quick and say, look, we did something.
But what was their original plan then?
There was no plan. This whole thing is nonsense. It's all smoke and mirrors, and that's all this is. And people say, but look, it has similarities to PT, because that's what Hassan wants you to think. He's taking something that came out years ago and is saying, let me recreate this as close as I can with asset flips and make you think this is the genius work of Kojima. There's nothing here. And when you look through the history of Blue Box games, they are doing the same playbook ad nauseum.
Yeah, I did a video listing all they keep doing this, which is they announce something, they say there's going to be a teaser, then they just cancel it completely. They've just done this literally every year since 2015.
Yeah, people really looked into the history of them and found a lot of stuff. And we talked about that a while ago, Nate, when this was first popping up. Some of the stuff that they had done, because we saw that game Haunting that was on Steam, and they had it under a different name and everything, a different studio almost.
Yeah,
and
they got rid of their original name on it, almost so like no one could link it back to them. And I've gone through the Wayback Machine to look at their old website where they were asking for investors next to one of the worst character models ever rendered.
And you don't think they're going to abandon, do you?
I would. Well, they should have abandoned this sinking ship before it left dock. But the weird thing with this, and this is the point that gets me frustrated, is that the ship of Blue Box Games has had more holes poked into its hull than the Titanic, yet the fans run over as quick as they can to patch it up. This boat is sinking, but these conspiracists continue to plug these holes. No matter what you come out and say, hey, here's legal documentation from the Dutch Chamber of Commerce proving that the only employee at the studio is Hassan. They'll say, no, it's Kojima. Like, based on what?
Yeah.
His name translates that in Turkish. Okay, no, it doesn't. That was never true. And then you have individuals come up with other theories saying, well, Abandon was in a state of play. It never was in a state of play. Whoever's creating that narrative is rewriting history, but people believe it. This is the stupidest event in gaming for the last 3 months. Why don't people instead take this energy and redirect it and give visibility to indie games that matter? We are giving attention to a project that will never release, that will never exist. I will give Hassan credit for one thing. He is an ambitious indie developer who has now flown far too close to the sun. His wings have melted and he is collapsing to earth. He tried to get his brand and profile spotlit. He wanted publishers and investors to notice him. He wanted to basically market himself, and he has done it incredibly well. There's an interview he did that I don't believe has been released, but aspects of it leaked, where he claims Konami had contacted him over maybe giving him the Silent Hill IP, which would never happen, But this is exactly what you as an ambitious indie developer want to do. He's made a name for himself. Publishers know him. His name is on their radar. So if he does have skill, maybe someone has contacted him. Maybe a small indie publisher house has said, hey, we want to see the project you have in development. We might have interest in publishing it for you. We might fund it. He's done an excellent job of marketing himself in the stupidest way. But the problem is all these people who continue to connect Kojima to this, or Konami. He has said, we're not connected to either of these entities. Yet people continue to push this false narrative because they cannot grasp the simple reality that this is not a grand scheme. This isn't the genius of Kojima. This is just a single indie developer who doesn't know what the hell he's doing, and they have to accept that this is that basic. And every time something is simple and has a basic explanation assigned to it, people look for something bigger. And this is something we saw with the JFK assassination. People said, it can't just, people have said it can't just be him.
This is the JFK assassination of video games.
Yeah, they say it can't just be that one individual. It has to be something bigger. It had to be the mafia. It had to be LBJ. It had to be the American government itself, because they wanted to go into Vietnam. They couldn't accept it was just one lone lunatic who happened to go into the book depository that day and shot him.
That's right up the street from me. I've been there. I've been in that building. And you know what? The mafia wasn't there.
What I want to know is this stupid app that they've got out on the store, right? And they're going to start uploading more things to it. But what is the goal of all this? Like,
that's what I'm trying to figure out.
I agree with you that this is really a marketing thing, right? This is viral marketing at its finest. But what is the end game for this? Like, what happens
right now? This is the end game. We're talking about it. And why are we talking about it? Why is IGN continue to report on it? Why did Bloomberg and Jason Schreier report on it? That's the end game. His name is out there. Hassan's name is in numerous publications. The trailer got tweeted 40,000 times. This has been reported and treated as a big deal for this industry. So Hassan's name is now a staple in this industry for the time being, and he's going to get offers. He's going to be contacted about, business deals and that type of thing. That's the end game conversation. Hopefully this botched patch is enough for the industry finally to take a step back and say, you know what, buddy? This is a joke. You're trolling. We're not giving you the limelight anymore. We're done with you. Try again in a month, and hopefully no one covers you until you actually produce fruit. It is time to let this tree wither and die.
I mean, the weirdest thing about all this is definitely just how much he keeps going back and forth of like, oh, it was an accident. I didn't mean to say all these things and build up all this hype. Like the fact that Hassan did all the cryptic tweets and hints that this was Kojima related. And then everybody was like, wow, it's Kojima related. And then he was like, no, guys, I'm not sure why, when he tweeted out that video crying, guys, I'm not Kojima. Why are y'all saying that? Like, I don't know. They've burned their sympathy out. I've never seen a studio burn their sympathy out this fast, where the game's not even out and people are tired of it.
How did they get a dev kit? How did Hassan get a dev kit to actually publish this thing on the PS5?
That's a good question, actually, because he would have had to have made it, right? Like the app, right? The application.
Well, yeah. Or, and this is, I'm putting my tinfoil hat on. He got someone else to make it for him, right? But I mean, we don't know.
That seems like an issue. That seems like a serious issue, then, right? Like that would get somebody into trouble.
Yeah, possibly.
Did you make it for him?
No. I wouldn't make that piece of garbage for anything.
That didn't sound convincing.
That's the thing is, we don't know how the handling of dev kits works in the Netherlands. We don't know how willing Sony is to give them to an indie studio out there. And even like the PlayStation blog, the thing people continue to cite as, oh, this has to be something bigger. If you're willing to pay Sony's bill to get a blog post, they'll do it for you. So if Hassan just happens to be independently wealthy, handed Sony $25,000 for a marketing deal, you get the blog post.
Well, so I wasn't able to substantiate this, but a bunch of people were putting it. I made a video about this on Friday, and I had people sending me something, which is apparently at one point Hassan was claiming that Sony was funding Abandoned. It sounded like the way the stuff people were sending me was that he was trying to make the indie game, and Sony said, we'll fund it, let's do it. And now he just doesn't have a game, and he just took that money and they advertised it because they were going to push it out or something. Like,
yeah, that's it's one of the things people have no proof of, and all they cite back is to the PlayStation blog post.
Yeah,
to say,
just trying to
Sony
make
must be
sense of
funding
it.
And that's the thing, is they're trying to make sense of it. They're connecting dots and trying to make the picture that they want. So they're basically just window shopping to suit their conspiracy theory. They're ignoring everything along the way that disproves it, and they're just saying, well, let's make a big loop around everything else. Oh, look, we connected the dot again. I think it's just
confusing to everyone, because it's like, how did this get to this point? Like, how did it get it on Sony? Hold on, are you telling me then, Nate? I just need to know, can I do this?
If you had access to a dev kit and you got it approved to
all
the
I need is access.
Store,
no, how do we know they have access to a dev kit?
They have to, because they have the app. They submitted something to Sony.
But then how do they get the dev kit?
That's the only loose end. But we don't know how free distribution is of the dev kits in that region.
Let me ask you this. I buy this dev kit off eBay because they've been popping up recently. All right. I get the dev kit on eBay. All right. Apparently how much money do you need to get on the PlayStation blog?
About 25 grand.
20 grand.
20 grand. Okay. So I need the dev kit and I need $20,000, right? And then I can just have Sony look like idiots whenever I want.
No, you have to.
That's what you're telling me right now.
That's not how it works, unfortunately. You have to activate. Your dev kit needs to be activated. So you have to. Every PlayStation developer has an account manager, right? And your dev kits need to be activated. So they have to phone home. They're whitelisted, all that stuff. It's not just as simple as buying a dev kit off eBay. And
Hassan has he's registered in the Dutch Chamber of Commerce as a developer. So if he handed over all the correct legal documentation to Sony of Europe, he could have gotten access to a dev kit. For all we know, he got a dev kit in April when he announced this game for the PlayStation 5 on the blog.
So you're saying I need to go to Dutch Chamber of Commerce first.
Okay. Step one.
And get that all taken care of, all my paperwork, and then I can get a dev kit, and then I can show up on PlayStation blog at Sony with no proof of any kind of game.
We should make the Spawncast experience.
I know.
And every week we put Spawncast clips in the little boxes and then just drop them.
I'm telling you.
Let's do it, man.
The whole experience is just Nate telling you personally to shut up.
Because I mean, they like, this person admitted that the trees that we see in the trailer is like from the Unreal Engine assets. It's from the asset stored on Unreal Engine.
And every game he's ever put out, he has a game on Android that was just an asset flip. Everything to him is an asset flip, and that's why people are saying this is Hideo Kojima. What? This is just a solo indie developer, and people keep citing, explain what is it? Now or whatever the asset studio is. Like, we'll explain that statement. They're a contract studio. If Hassan went to him and say, hey, can you draw me a logo? And they said, okay, we have some available time. It's going to take us a month. The fee is $10,000, and Hassan was willing to pay $10,000 for it, then they would do it. Like, do people really think Kojima's coming out and mishandling this bad?
Yes.
This isn't genius work. This is so stupid that people think it's genius because they can't accept that the reality is that this is nothing.
Nate, what's the end game here?
Not a goddamn thing.
So wait, okay, that was the last thing I really wanted to go over is what happens now? Like,
do we get more though? Like, do we get like another bullshit experience and some other content
according to the app, we're supposed to get like a playable demo, and then we get a launch trailer. Remember, this is supposed to come out this year.
Yeah.
It took Hassan 2 months to make a 5-second trailer of a character walking on wood with some of the worst sound sync ever recorded. So the full game is either going to be that hunting game or hunted, whatever the piece of shit Steam game was, just reskinned, and it's going to be early access, and then we just see nothing from it. Or Hassan and the whole company is going to vanish overnight before the year concludes, and then it's going to spring back up in like 2 years as Box Blue Games, and he's going to come up with a new term.
Is he going to have
he's going to find a thesaurus, and he's going to say, what's similar to abandoned? Left. Okay.
So apparently I've been researching. This guy has a long history of like fraud products.
Yeah. I made a whole video about it. It's ridiculous.
For 6 years. Like, he's done this for 6 years, the exact same step-by-step playbook. This isn't new. This is sadness. This is sadness from the Wii. This is Seasons of Heaven from the NX days. It's just an indie developer saying,
at least that's
"Look
all
at
the
this
book,
budget."
though, didn't it?
Seasons of Heaven. Wait, people did interviews with the developers on that game and all sorts of stuff.
The situation with that game is hilarious because it was the summer of 2016 before the Switch was officially announced as Switch. It was still known as NX, and the developer for that game reached out to a bunch of content creators, and they said, "Hey, we're going to give you some screenshots. Do you want to leak them for us?" And people are like, "What?" And you had a handful of people who agreed, and they did. And they're like, "Oh, this secret NX game just leaked. It's Seasons of Heaven. Here's these screenshots. It's Unreal Engine 4. Look how good the dog looks."
Right,
And it was all calculated by the developer itself.
That was a Switch exclusive. I remember that got announced as a Switch exclusive.
Yeah,
that was right around the time. And what you call it, Beyond Good and Evil 2 was coming to the Switch as an exclusive too.
And it never came
big
out.
things back then.
Yeah, it also had a book.
Well, okay, but did it sell the book?
I think it was the plan, and then it never happened.
But the book happened.
Yes, the book happened.
See, I mean, at least there's an end game there. I'm like, okay, I get that. Like, I understand.
think the book existed before the game.
But like, I still understand.
I don't know.
I guess my thought about this is that I don't think a product can exist. If y'all are correct that Hassan is alone in this company and he's just taking these assets, like takes floorboards, takes a general character model. One of my subscribers linked to me the fact that the music in the trailer is just some royalty-free generic stuff he found online. Like there's nothing here. He's not like there can't be a game.
He could release a game. But it's going to be like, what was that terrible game on the PlayStation 4? That Tiger game, Tiger?
Yeah, Life of Black Tiger.
Yeah, it's going to be something like that. And the sad reality is, if Hassan does release the game, people are going to buy it, convinced, oh, this is still a secret for the next Kojima project. We just have to beat it in a certain way and try to figure out some sort of riddle, because they're still not going to accept the reality that it's nothing. And he's going to sell a couple thousand copies because... people, I don't even want to use the term gullible. You're just stupid.
I mean, I think people, they might sell more than a couple thousand if they continue this, because so many people were just sitting there on stream waiting for the app to get updated.
Yeah. I want to stream that 5,000 concurrent viewers waiting for that demo.
How long can you take bait when you know you're being served bait?
People are just looking for that reveal.
But even a fish.
You're on Twitter, right, Nate?
Even
I think people can do a lot of stupid stuff for a very long amount of time. For a very long time.
You realize it's bait.
Right, but another fish will come up.
People on Twitter are like, I know this is bait, but I'm going to take the bait and get mad that it's bait. But you know what? I'm going to continue to do this because maybe it'll change this time. You're actually insane. You're getting played by Hassan every week.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Switch Pro.
Something's going to change, and it never changes. He's going to reveal he's going to give us a 6-second experience next where maybe we see one extra step taken.
Yeah.
It's a
pretty much, yes. It's yeah. I mean, when did they release the next thing? Next week? 2 weeks? September?
Who knows? The game's supposed to come out in the next 3.5 months, so he has a lot to fill on that app.
We just got 5 seconds of footage. Like, what more do you need? Like, give the guy time to make
it. It took him 8 weeks to make.
I mean,
so the chat said
this took him 8
They're
weeks.
going to delay this game.
Delays.
They're going to delay the game in general.
Someone in chat said this is going to be the QAnon of video games.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
I believe in abandoned.
Yes, Rob, I can apply rationality to abandon. It's the only thing I have.
You know, I thought Nate was behind it the whole time too.
Yes, I told you I'm part of Lelulalulo and the Patriots, and this is what we've been doing all this time.
What just happened?
I had a stroke.
I don't know. I'm disappointed. I thought you were like the mastermind behind it all, Nate.
Yeah, I told you. Hassan and I go over to Amsterdam. We drink some absinthe. We have a couple pot brownies, and we laugh.
Did you talk to him?
Yeah, he's got a trailer coming out in 3 weeks. It's going to be hot this time. You're going to see trees.
Wow.
Exclusive.
Some shitty smoke.
World premiere.
Yeah, I actually say that at the start. So when you boot up the app and you hear world premiere.
Do you think, hold on, you think Jeff Keighley does anything with this at the Video Game Awards?
You got to mention Keighley. Keighley's got to get on this action.
What if it, because he's aware of it, obviously. What if this game gets delayed to next year and he puts it up as like the winner for most anticipated game of the year?
I mean, I'll be curious. He does sometimes. Keeley does off the cuff jokes about the game industry. I would laugh if he even just makes a joke, being like, "The number one trailer abandoned."
No, he's got to find. He's got to find his the guy developing this.
Yeah, he's gonna find Hassan.
He has to find him.
Hassan and Jeff have communicated over DMs. But Hassan promised Jeff a bunch of screenshots, and then he never gave them.
As far as I know, they're friends.
Well, and Hassan.
Money.
There are people who have been DMing Hassan and leaking DMs, and at one point, Hassan, there's a screenshot going around where he said, "This is going to be the Red Dead Redemption 2 of horror."
And then he backtracked on it, like, we're just a small company. We didn't mean like visually. We just mean it's gonna be like revolutionary.
Yeah, that's such a funny quote, though. The Red Dead Redemption of horror.
What are you doing, man? What are you doing?
You know what? At the end of the day, it'd be so funny if he actually proves us wrong and delivers like an incredible gaming experience.
I hope he does.
That would be actually awesome for all like the doubt that is cast upon it now, and it's just all been bad luck. Like things aren't working, and it couldn't get the demo out. Like it just all was a series of like legit unfortunate events.
I mean,
like, that'd be funny.
How long
hold on.
How long has this been a thing that's been going on?
Too long.
Abandoned. April it was announced.
So here's my whole issue with this.
About it.
Really?
Yeah, I literally I just had to look it up. The dual, he looks like a tool bag, but
you didn't see it trending on Twitter yesterday?
No, dude's in a turtleneck. Like, what do you expect?
But it was trending.
The turtleneck slander.
Big job for a turtleneck every day.
It was cold out.
So Nate, here's 1,000 degrees where I live. That's why I don't wear turtlenecks.
Nate, are we beyond the point where we don't? They're not going to be saying, why do people keep linking us Kojima anymore? Right? Like we're beyond that.
No, people still believe it is Kojima.
But they keep leaning into it. They keep playing into it.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you? If every time you do something... Yes, I would,
but I also wouldn't then go in an interview and say, development's just suffering because of all of this. I don't know, what could we do different? I don't know.
That's actually one of my concerns with this situation is I don't believe Hassan is a bad guy. The problem is that he's leaning into the Kojima, Silent Hill, Metal Gear Solid stuff hard to get this traction and attention. But when this will backfire on him, he's going to get a mountain of harassment and abuse, and he doesn't deserve that. He has said, I'm not Kojima. We have no relationship with Konami. We are not making Silent Hill. But it's still going to lead to people DMing him and, probably sending death threats and all of that stuff, and that should be avoided. And, just Hassan,
but wait a minute.
This and save face and just say, I'm an ambitious indie. I've had some fun with you. Ultimately, my project isn't going to be. I'm hoping it's an ambitious project. It may never come to light, but hey, it is what it is.
Can I ask a question? Because this is like what I'm getting from the whole situation is like, so what? He talked up a big game, and then everybody overhyped it. And people are hating it because they overhyped it, or
no? It's a mix of the two.
That I'm getting from it.
It's a mix of the two. He announced it in April, but it was on the PlayStation blog, and people said, "There's no way some random indie has a PlayStation blog post. This must be a front for Hideo Kojima." Well, and then it just took off from there. He leaned into it.
Well, so he did a bunch of very specific hints, like he
tongue
did
in
this thing
kind of stuff.
Well,
he said his game began with the letter S and ended in L.
Yeah, and then he kept doing
he
all
put
sorts
a space in the middle, and it just literally the dash is spelled out Silent Hill.
And there's no S.
Well, no. But he said the project is called Abandoned, but the game won't be, which is why everything's being hyped through Blue Box Studio. Then they did this weird teaser trailer at one point, and it said like no trespassers, and P and T was covered up by this sign, so it looked like PT demo. Then they said here's the picture for the trailer, and it looked like a blurry face of Solid Snake with the eye patch. He literally kept doing it. The font of Abandoned, they took the font from Metal Gear Solid to spell it out. Like literally, it's direct on purpose.
He's a really good troll. You guys got trolled.
He got trolled.
You guys were upset about getting trolled. Poor things.
So he's a masterful troll, and people just can't accept the fact that they are being trolled. They think it has to be something bigger instead of. This guy is just marketing a box of nothing. He's literally marketing the mystery box.
Mm-hmm.
And people are saying you could have Blooper Team make a Silent Hill, or you can have what's in this box. And people are saying
you're saying that he's not a bad guy, but we also talked about he has a history of doing this shit, right? I mean,
He's not a bad guy because no one's being hurt financially except for himself. If you're investing money and he's not producing results and he's screwing you, Farkle, then that's a different thing.
They took money for the haunting though.
Okay, then that's a bad move, and that's a shitty move. As far as Abandon is concerned, as far as we can tell, there is no investor. He's not hurting anybody.
That's what I'm
directly.
confused about. Like, there's not going to be a game. You're saying there's not going to be a game. So
there won't be an end game.
Why did they just throw money away on that PlayStation blog then?
Because he wants his name known. This is him selling his brand and to raise his profile. Because of all of a sudden, you do have an indie developer reach out to him and say, can we see a vertical slice of what you produced? We like what you did. We'd like to hire you. He got that because of this troll attempt.
Would he have a vertical slice ready, or is he going to show him the 5 seconds the person walks across the
hell knows?
Maybe it's 10 seconds this time.
I mean, and that's the thing. We don't even know if he can code. We don't know if he can program a game. We have no actual credits to his name to prove he can create something. But if that's his end goal of just getting attention for the industry and maybe advance his career, he did a brilliant job at selling himself. Although it does look kind of shitty when you can't even release your 5-second trailer on time. It takes you 3 days to release the exact thing you already tweeted. But his name is known. Everyone's talking about him. A person who has given you nothing.
Well, it reminds. There's an old Mark Twain quote where he says, "It's easier to trick a man than tell him he's been tricked." And I think about that a lot in the gaming industry, where people buy into the hype and then convince themselves that it's real, even when it's smoke and mirrors.
That's a lot of things, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but I'm not specifically talking about video games. Of course, the quote applies to everything.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're talking about him. This is what he wants. So he's winning. He's ahead. He's ahead in this game because everyone is talking about him. If nobody talked about him, would he troll harder? Would he actually put like Liquid Snake in a tweet? Maybe. Would all of a sudden David Hayter come on and be like, I'm in Abandoned? Maybe. But right now, he's doing nothing. He put up a blurry, generic profile of a head that had an eye patch on, and everyone said that has to be Solid Snake.
All right.
And people found out it was just an Unreal Engine 3 asset.
I think you're onto something here, though, Nate, with the David Hayter stuff, because I feel like he's on Cameo.
He is.
All I'm gonna say is a couple $100 can mess the internet up real bad this week. All right.
All right. Yeah. I'll pay.
Don't you do that?
Let's
just a couple of clicks. Hold on.
Let's not make your lives more difficult. Okay.
All I gotta do is that, and it just finds its way online randomly.
I'm in Abandoned.
I'm sorry. I just don't really see how this is a big deal. Like, honestly, if you think the guy's a fraud, just don't follow him. Just don't talk about him. Like, it's a game. You'll see it when you see it. I know for granted, people sitting here, we do news and you covered relevant topics, blah, blah, blah. But for the average person, just
here's the other thing with this, though. Here's the other thing. I almost wonder if there was more going on right now for Sony and PlayStation if we wouldn't be talking about this as much.
Probably, yeah. Probably.
I just realized that. I'm like, that's not a lot's happening right now for the PlayStation.
Yes.
We're not if Horizon was coming out next month, I'd be like, what? We're just going to be talking about Horizon.
If Sony was dropping news and there were big releases coming to the brand, people would be more focused on that instead of Abandoned by random indie developer number 10 from the Netherlands. Instead, there's nothing happening in Sony's world right now, so people are focusing on this weird conspiracy theory of this game that's probably never coming to market because it gives them something to discuss in an otherwise deserted environment.
So it's a slow news day for the audience.
That's gone on for 5 months.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I'm just now hearing about it because it's stupid.
It is.
I need some milk.
Okay, so I found David Hayter's cameo.com.
If you give him money to say anything about Abandoned,
we'll post it up on the Spawncast Clips account. It'll be great.
It's $95.
You ever hear the one he did for Reset Era?
That's not bad.
All right, we should do it if we can get the Danny DeVito one too. I think that'd be great. Just to really mess with people.
What was the one for Reset Era?
He said, "Hey, Reset Era, why can't you people just be normal?"
Okay, that's pretty good.
It's a pun on a meme from the site where someone went into a thread. He said, "Why can't you fuckers just be normal?" After a person asked something so ridiculous where it was I forget what it even was, but it was something where you would actually respond "What the fuck is wrong with you?" So
probably
they ended
normal
up having
for
David Hayter read it. It's pretty funny.
Okay, that's good. All right, yeah, it's not too much. I mean, that could make for a fun day on the internet. I'll think about it.
No.
I know it. No, at this point,
wait.
No. At this point, I want the developer for Abandon to be like, okay, what's going on?
Are
Hold
you
on a
Hassan?
Yes.
Has this been the secret all along?
Could be.
No,
Could be.
No.
Find out at too many games.
no. There you go.
See, John's been so bored of PlayStation news, he hired an actor, named him Hassan, gave him a Twitter account, made all this fake bullshit. He had the whole plan of, if I just give Sony X amount of money and I buy a dev kit, then he used MVG to activate it.
Hey, those things are on eBay
these
now.
Pieces are
You get them
coming
all over the
down.
place.
Yeah,
Why am I
exactly.
involved
Pieces
in
of
it? Why am I involved in this criminal bullshit?
I needed someone to help him activate the dev
Why
kit.
not?
My
Here soon, I
question
can get
is,
them
You
prime
were
shipped
very
in.
quick
cried.
to answer what has to happen to activate it.
My question is,
you think
how is
I'm
there-
part of the Patriots?
how is there so much involvement and stuff involved with these people, but neither of these accounts are verified, but Sean is?
Because
True.
Twitter doesn't know what the hell it's doing.
Oh, okay.
Sean made
Got it.
Twitter rethink its entire verification process. Okay.
Understood.